Hello, Tarot Tube. It's time to say goodbye to 2024 and goodbye to the top Tarot Trumps tag. And I'm ending with the Sun card. I was an irregular participant, but I really wanted to do the Sun because it's the Yule season and it just seemed appropriate. Yesterday, Masha from Musings by Masha, who started this tag, had a little roundup, a live stream with a group of creators, content creators. I will link that video at the end of my video here so you can take a look at it, and I'll put the link in the comment section below. But hey, watch my video, don't jump so soon. Okay, so 5 Sun cards. I don't really know what to say about how I picked these. I don't know, it made sense to me at the time. So I'm going to do, let's see, I'll go in this order. I'll end with the Light Seers last because it has a little spread in it. So, stick around to the end so you can see that spread. I'll try to remember to put chapters in if you want to jump ahead to it, but you might just like to see what I picked. So this deck, the Fablemakers Animated Tarot, I used a lot this year because I was running a tabletop role-playing game that used tarot cards, and this is the deck that I consistently was pulling during that game. So let's take a look at the Sun card from this one. Now, this one does have the baby on the horse. I know that a lot of people have feelings about the baby on the horse, but there the baby is. It's a little baby. But I was really more sort of taken with the bright colors. See, this is why it's animated. The bright colors, the animation, and I really love that there are sunflowers in this card. And the horse seems very peaceful. I'm not worried about the baby. It almost could be like a magical, not really living horse. So yeah, there's that. And because this is a deck that was built to be used for role-playing games, it's interesting, the keywords that they have here. So they have skill, proficiencies, insight, and nature, which those are things that you use in role-playing to help define your character and what they're good at. So here are the keywords, abilities, keywords. Abilities is also a role-playing game trope. And I have a little bit about there. And then a nice thing about this book, and it's a lovely book that comes with this deck, at least the deluxe version that I have. I think I have a big box version of this, so I'm not sure. But this is from Hit Point Press. I think that it doesn't really make the rounds in the tarot sphere because Hit Point Press is really more about role-playing games, although they have a lot of card decks. And then they have these nice questions that you can ask. Whispers from the Weave. So you could use these in-game or in a divinatory way. I don't think I've used these in-game. I've certainly used these things in-game, but not this. So it's really useful. And this, how can you cultivate more joy in your life? This is really interesting because that came up in the spread in the Light Seers journal, like the book that's in the Light Seers, Tarot for Light Seers. But you'll see that in a little bit. So that's my first card of the Sun. Let's say goodbye to my sparkling sun and the waving sunflowers. It's a good spark of imagination, I think, to have that moving card. All right, this next one I chose, obviously inspired by Masha and her love of historical decks. So I picked up the Sola Busca Tarot on a trip. I was doing my best to get in touch with my Italian ancestry and heritage and understand the role of tarot perhaps in my, I don't really know. I can never know, really. In my ancestors, I guess they go back all the way. My father insisted Roman times, but how could you ever prove that? But definitely my family was around during the Italian Renaissance, so it seemed appropriate to have at least one deck from this period. And this is the one I chose. I think it's really beautifully reproduced. And the imagery is just not, because I learned to read on an RWS deck, the imagery is like, I'm sorry, what? How does that work? But here he is. And let's take a look at what our scholar, I forget what's the guy's name who did this? I mean, there's a huge, this text is by Andrea Vitali. So there is, Linnea Weatherstone. I did not realize that she had done that. Okay, so Linnea Weatherstone wrote this, I assume wrote this text. Anyway, when I look at this card, I'm like, okay, intuition, take the wheel, because I don't get this. Also, take a look. So it's Sabino is the word for this card, and look how they did the Roman numeral. But you know, who am I to argue with the Italian Renaissance? Anyway, Sabino, strong and sure in character, yet open to the lessons of divine teachings. The mortal goes forth in glory, wealth, health, happiness, spiritual fulfillment, and all good things are yours. Open your heart to receive them. So I really feel that for me, even though the imagery, it's hard for me to see myself in this card, it kind of captures the essence of what I think about the Sun card more than the horse baby thing. Yeah. So look how different these guys are. Isn't that crazy? Okay, let's put them up here. And then we'll take a look at this deck. This deck I also got on a trip. I was actually looking for something to help me tap into my Celtic origins, but I didn't really find anything. But I did find this really beautiful deck, and it makes me think of my trip to Scotland, even though it's an American deck. So this is by Megan Weirweeden, I think, and there's her company, and she is, I believe, on the west coast of the U.S., and here is her Sun card. All right, no baby, beautiful Sun, beautiful horse, and a horse is really, look at all the motion and movement in this card. I really love it. I love the colors in this card. It's just gorgeous. And it's interesting to me that there's not so much yellow in this card. It's really much more subtle sun. Not that I actually look at the sun, but I would assume if I looked straight at it, it would have a little more white in it like this. But yeah, I can't really attest to that. And I'm also tickled by the fact that you can see the stars in the sky at the same time. And they have the Roman numeral this way. So let's see what Megan has to say about the Sun in her deck. So she's got a horse. There are a lot of nature things in this deck. It is, here it is. It is Anima Mundi, right? So a lot of this is about energy of different animals. So she used the horse, which is traditional, and she's got her Latin name, the Equus Caballus. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay, it's an optimistic card of confidence and abundance. You have overcome the unconscious fears of the moon. I like how she's transitioning from the moon into the sun energy, and now the light of the sun is guiding you. You're feeling revitalized, and things are going well for you. Upright success, happiness, vitality, positivity, abundance, confidence, and then reverse, lingering worry, temporary, and sadness. All right. So that's this one. I really love the kind of transitional nature of this one. And I guess that's why you can see the stars still. Yeah. Okay, there's a sudden revelation for me. Hooray. Hooray for me. I love it when my brain kicks in, don't you? All right. I picked this deck because I've been working with it a lot. This is December 2024. And this one has really kind of captured the essence of the season for me for this year. Not every year feels the same, but this year it felt like this. So I was happy to have this deck this year. I got it last year. And last year I wasn't really feeling it. So it was kind of nice that I felt it this year. So here's the Sun card. You know what? I'll hold up this card so you can see this is an accurate representation. Ouch! Okay, hey, did you know that if you pick up a lit candle, it's hot? Right, so I'll just do it this way so you can see the bigger image. Now, it's very interesting to me because I pulled this card several times this month in readings, and depending on the questions I was asking and the context, what was around it, I really got several different meanings from this card. So I got a kick out of that, and I liked it because it made me feel that this is a deck that has a lot of depth because of the imagery. I can see different things in the images. Yeah. Okay, so the keywords here. Oh, I forgot to say who and what. Okay, Christopher Hughes, art by Aaron O'Leary Brown, and this is Llewellyn, right? Yeah, Llewellyn. Big book, that's Llewellyn. Okay. Vitality, hope, and enlightenment. Yeah, maybe I'll share a little bit about what I got out of this card. We'll see. All right, so from the reflected light of the moon, again, we're transitioning. The child now finds their own inherent radiancy and is able to shine by their own power and light. Look to the frozen lake, a surface of water that is reflecting the sun. This is symbolic of the moon and its associations with water. But this time, the child, in the guise of children, skates happily over its surface, no longer beholden to the moon's illusions. The child has successfully integrated the moon's message into the experience of the sun. This is a card filled with joy and wonder and the pleasures of human life. The solstice sun rises over the distant mountains, heralding the end of the longest nights and holding within its light the promise of spring. Joyously, the child appears in a number of guises to celebrate a new dawn and express their own inner light. This perfect winter picnic is indicative of being lost in a moment of happiness, knowing on some intellectual level that happiness is fleeting and that we strive for is contentment, but that comes later. For now, simply celebrate the fact that the sun has risen and a new dawn has arrived, both for the world at large and for the child's journey. So this is like kind of Christian adjacent a little bit, the way she's reading this card, but I like it. And this divinatory meaning is really kind of what hit me, that idea of just stopping and feeling gratitude and celebrating. I got a message of self-care and self-love from this, like you really worked hard to get here, so now just sit and enjoy it, really take it in, like give yourself some time to feel it, was the message I was getting when I got this card a couple of times. I liked that. Okay, the magic of Midwinter. And my last card, and of course, if you asked me on a different day, I could probably come up with a completely different choice of cards, is from the Tarot for Light Seers. So here she is. She's gorgeous. See, I didn't touch the candle that time. And I really love this. I pulled this once recently, and I was sort of aware of this necklace, which looks like mala beads. It's kind of like swinging up in the air as it's almost like a joy dance. I guess that is what it is, but it's sort of a celebratory opening up, and it's swinging up like that. And for a moment, I could also feel the pain of a stab in the chest, and it felt like the fear, right? You have to overcome the fear of opening you up yourself. If you open yourself up, you do open yourself up to everything, the good and the bad. So I was looking at this card, and it made me feel that you do have to take that risk. If you're going to open up, you have to take the risk. Maybe you're going to get a little jab, who knows? But you're never going to get this if you don't risk that. I like that thing that I read. Right, so here's her book. If you have not, I'm not going to read this whole thing for you, but if you haven't considered this larger book, I got it for $10. It went on sale. So if you're interested, it's really a nice resource. I'm going off script here, people. It's a nice resource. It has these really cool little charts in the back. I would say, like no matter how experienced you are, that just having a little reference like this sometimes when you're just feeling a little bit overwhelmed or something can kind of help you pull it in. The music one, I was like, what? She did make that up herself. I know that Benabel Wen has also done one with music. Yeah, So that, I think this is all really useful. This really kind of quick reference here at the back where she's putting the RWS with her own. Oh, let's look at that one. Let's look at this one. You know, she's pairing them up because she's talking about, excuse me, the symbols and the colors and all that stuff. Where are we? Oops, I went too far. She went too far. Da, 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 da. There we go. Right? Here we are. So, you know, this is, I really like this book. I like it a lot. So you can take a look at that if you want, you know, freeze and read it if you like. But this is what I really wanted to get to. This Illuminate My Path spread, which I think is a lovely one. I did it right before I came on to make this video. I think it's a beautiful little spread, a lovely thing to do right now at this time of year. A little bit of tips for healing with the sun, especially those of us who deal with some level of, you know, seasonal anxiety and depression, some half-full stuff. And then this lovely little affirmation. I am whole, I am more than enough, and I shine like the sun when I am happy. So that's a choice that you get to make, actually. You get to choose, to some extent, your feelings and how you're going to feel. So I invite you to choose happy if you can. I know sometimes life is just too much. But if you can choose happy, and maybe this little spread will help you to get there. I hope that you had a good holiday season. Wishing you all the very, very best for 2025. And hit that like button on the way out if you're still here. Thanks. Bye-bye. Choose happy.